Welcome to 4029 Sports. I'm Alex Wilson. It was a disappointing day in Arlington today as the Hogs lost to Texas A&M, but it wasn't all bad news. The Hogs kept this a one-possession game for most of the time, but it did start ugly for Arkansas as the Aggies would take this opening kickoff and return it 100 yards to take the lead 15 seconds into the game as he gets past the first set of defenders, and then it's off to the races, and man, is he fast. Had to speed it up a little bit so he could get it all in for you tonight. Now, the Hogs would keep the game at that distance for most of the game. Now, here we can see Cole Kelly giving some maximum effort to push through after a high snap, putting the Hogs on the board for the first time in the game. Then, in the fourth quarter, the Aggies would extend their lead to the largest gap of the day when Travion Williams goes untouched around the corner for pay dirt. So, Texas A&M wins this one 24-17 to extend their win streak over Arkansas to 7. Now, Sports Director Mitch Roberts was in the locker room after the game, and he has reactions from players and the head Hog himself after today's loss.
Well, obviously the Hogs were disappointed in the post-game locker room, but nothing like that million-mile stare that they had after the loss at Colorado State and after getting beat 31 points at Auburn. This one gave you a little hope. The Hogs had a chance to force overtime in this football game, and a last-second pick took those dreams away. Here's what Coach Morris and the players had to say in the post-game locker room.
Be able to put a defense on the field that held one of the top offenses in the country to well under their average, 370-something yards, in the play of Dre Greenlaw and Scooter Harris and Santos Ramirez and all those guys. They keep stepping up like they have all year long.
We just go out there and do what we do, just execute our game plan. That's the big emphasis, throughout the week. It's the small things, try to make corrections from week to week.
I feel good. I feel good all the time. I mean, coming out there today, I was feeling good. Every time we get out on that field, man, seems like we get a first down and everybody kind of settles down and we feel good. We're a confident team, and especially having a defense like we have and special teams, we're coming along. We're confident offense, and I think you can see that building.
Things got a little bit better at Auburn, much better today here in Arlington at AT&T Stadium. They'll need all the confidence they can get heading into next week when the Alabama Crimson Tide come to town. Reporting from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Mitch Roberts, 4029 Sports.
And as Mitch mentioned, up next for the Hogs is the #1 team in the country, the Alabama Crimson Tide. And they come to town on a 7-game win streak dating back to November of last year. Meanwhile, the Razorbacks have not beat the Tide since 2006. Next week's matchup will kick off at 11 a.m. on ESPN. Speaking of the Tide, they had no problem with the Raging Cajuns from Louisiana Lafayette today. Here we see Josh Jacobs go around the outside to get Alabama rolling early, up 7-0. Just a few minutes later, Tua Tagovailoa goes for the play action and then dumps it into the corner of the end zone for Henry Ruggs. The Tide would put up 56 unanswered points before the Raging Cajuns would get on the board in the fourth quarter. So Alabama adds another notch to their win column with a 56-14 final score. In Norman today, the Sooners hosted the Baylor Bears, and we pick it up in the second quarter, where Oklahoma leads 21-6 and extend that lead here with a 24-yard pass from Kyler Murray to Marquise Brown for the touchdown to make it 28-6. Later in the third, Murray is going to hit CeeDee Lamb, and he's going to catch and run this one for 86 yards to make it 35-16. And Oklahoma would just not slow down from there as the Sooners would double the Bears' score, winning 66-33. So up next for the Sooners is the Texas Longhorns at 11 a.m. in Norman next week. 4029 News will be right back.